Hi, welcome to the Carpenter Shop. This is where together we grow and together we become something with Him that we couldn't be without Him. We grow deep roots, and this is where we try to figure out some of the mechanics of our faith and what it looks like. 1 John 1, 8-9 says this: if we say we have no sin, we're fooling ourselves, and the truth is not in us. But if we confess our sins, He will forgive our sins because we can trust God to do what's right. He will cleanse us from all the wrongs we have done. Do you have anything to confess? Come on, seriously, anything to confess? Go ahead, say it out loud now, I'll listen. Oh, I can't believe that, I heard that. Well, anything else? Go ahead. Now, the good news for you is, if you responded at all to that question, and I don't know why you would have, but if you did, the great news is that unless you got someone sitting in the room with you, no one heard it. And no one else watching this, as it streams at another place, another time, in another building, heard your confession either. However, if you had confessed out loud, although I was kind of playing a game here and saying, go ahead and tell me, God could have heard it. And confession, I hear, is good for the soul. Confession, as a word, conjures up all kinds of images, not all of which are positive. Backroom interrogations, water torture, admitting something to a priest who sits on the other side of a black curtain, walking down a church aisle and filling out a card, walking down a church aisle and taking a pastor's hand. Is this what John was talking about in the passage that we read? If we have no sin, we're fooling ourselves, but if we confess our sins, He'll forgive our sins. Here's what I want to call to your attention, because it's important to understand what confession is. Confession is not telling God what He doesn't know. That's impossible. There's nothing you're going to confess to God that's going to surprise Him. Confession is not complaining. If I come before God and merely recite my problems or rehash my woes, I'm whining. Confession is not blaming, pointing fingers at someone else without pointing at me doesn't do any good. It doesn't promote healing. Confession is a lot more than that. Confession is a radical reliance on grace, a proclamation in our trust of God's goodness. It's when we come before God and say, God, what I did was bad, but I know your grace is greater than my sin, so I'm willing to confess it to you. I did it. I'm sorry. And I know you've forgiven it, and I know your grace is big enough to cover it. If our understanding of grace is small, our confessions are small, or they don't exist at all. We're reluctant. We hesitate. We don't want to talk to God about the things that are going on because we don't understand the bigness and the boldness of His grace. Honest confession clears the way for God's grace to move in and cleanse us and make us new, but also at the same time make us feel so much better because we are willing to come to a God who can handle whatever it is we throw at Him. So now let me think about it. Do you have anything to confess? Anything you want to confess? I would venture to say that you do. The great news is you don't have to confess to me. The better news for me is I don't have to confess to you. But at the end of the day, we all are able to take those confessions before God, and when we do, we find a God who loves us and cares for us and is more than willing to let His grace pour through our lives and do the incredible. Don't be afraid to confess. It's good for the soul, your soul, and mine. I look forward to joining you next time here in the Carpenter Shop.